You don't step into your soft era by deciding to be soft. You step into it by teaching your nervous system that it is safe for it to stop fighting. Softness isn't a mood that you go in and out of. It's an internal state of regulation. And so if your body is still wired for chaos, for agency, for performance, then softness won't feel peaceful. It will actually feel impossible. So you can try all of the rituals. You can wear the silk robe. You can light the candles. You can say the affirmations. But if underneath it all you are still feeling completely dysregulated, you are simply not in your soft era. You're just wearing a costume of it. You're just wearing a mask of it, where underneath is complete dysregulation and complete panic. Contrary to popular belief, your soft era doesn't start with what you look like, doesn't start by having a soft beige aesthetic, but it starts with what your nervous system believes. So if your softness still feels fake, if your rest still feels like guilt, if having ease still makes your jaw clench, you don't need to try harder. You don't need to put more effort. You don't need to take more actions. What you need to do is to regulate deeper. Because your soft era is not about doing less, it's about creating the safety to stop fighting for your worth, but to start embodying that, start embodying your worth, start embodying that safety within yourself. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that by helping you understand why your body resists softness in the first place and how to create that inner safety in order to let it in. So let's begin. So let's start with why softness starts in your nervous system. You don't resist softness because you're a harsh, hard, cold, broken, or disconnected person. You resist it because your body has learned on a cellular level that being soft isn't safe. But as I said before, softness isn't a mindset. Softness isn't a mood. Softness is a nervous system state. What that means is that you don't have to intellectually understand it. You have to physically understand it. You have to physically feel it, to feel safe in order for your body to be allowed to soften and open up. So your body will respond to what it feels and it thinks it's safe for it to do. So if your body still believes that gripping and forcing and holding things together, then if you give it anything opposite to that, your body is going to react. And until your body learns that it's safe for it to stop gripping, to stop forcing, to stop doing and hassling, it will keep choosing tension. Even when you desperately want ease, even when you desperately want softness, if your body thinks that what you need is and what is safe for you is to still be in the fight or flight mode, then anything opposite to that is going to create tension because it is unsafe for you. It will feel unsafe for it to relax right now because it still feels in danger. So let's see the real reasons why softness feels so far away and why your nervous system is the key to unlocking it. There are different dimensions and different reasons why you resist and why you have resistance towards softness. The first one comes from your nervous system and your sense of safety. So a lot of times, for a lot of people, stillness triggers a survival alarm, meaning that your body has learned that safety equals readiness and not stillness. For you to feel safe, you have to be always on guard. You have to always be ready to protect yourself and fend for yourself. So you felt that in order to survive, you need to be always ready. You can't ever, for even a second, relax, let your guard down, otherwise you will get hurt. And this could happen from an occasion where there was stillness before chaos, and so you associate that me being so calm and being so still didn't prepare me enough for what it was to come. So now you see safety, you see stillness as the calm before the storm. You see it as a danger where you are not prepared for a storm that it is to come. Another way that this triggers your nervous system and your sense of safety is because hyperarousal feels normal to you. If you have been living in chronic stress for so long, being on edge feels like home to you. It feels familiar, it feels safe, it feels normal. You can't imagine your life without that. You can't imagine how it could be without having this thing. And so when you have these moments of neutrality, these moments of stillness and softness, you might feel empty. Your system will immediately start looking for things to fix, because this is what is accustomed to doing. Is always ready to start fixing things, to start handling things. And so when things are calm, when things are neutral, your system goes into panic when it doesn't have something in front of it to do and to handle. And another way that softness threatens your safety and your nervous system is because softness can equal to vulnerability, and therefore that means that softness is a threat. This is because your primal brain sees softness as exposure. It sees it as vulnerability. It sees it as having no guard to protect it. And so in your mind, vulnerability triggers the same response as danger, because historically and through your previous experiences, it meant that when I'm vulnerable, people can harm me. Injustices can happen to me because I'm too vulnerable, I'm too open, and therefore I should always keep myself closed and to keep myself protected, because if I'm vulnerable, then I am allowing myself to get harmed more easily. So another dimension that plays a big role on why you are resisting softness and why you're resisting, and that holds you back from fully going into your soft era, it comes from your identity and your self-worth. So a lot of people build their worth on productivity. They build their self-worth, their value, and what they deserve based on how much they do. So if your worth is interlinked with productivity, then softness will feel like a failure to you, because your identity is built around doing, is built around being productive. And so if you stop performing, if you actually stay still, become soft, who are you then? Who are you now? Going fully into your soft era becomes then a threat to your whole identity, because now it makes you wonder, if I am soft, then that means I am not a person that is a hard worker. That means I'm not a person that is ambitious. And maybe in your mind you relate this with laziness, with failure, with an identity that you didn't relate to before. And so you take it personally for you to keep doing things, to keep putting effort, even if this, in the bigger picture, it doesn't push you forward. Another way that softness could threaten your identity is because maybe you have an identity of the person who is the strong one. When you ask for yourself to become soft, to have some stillness, it's like you are asking yourself to let go of the version of you that helped you survive. When you try to do that, your ego immediately starts to fear this annihilation when you're not in fight or flight anymore, when you're not in survival. You threaten the entire existence of an identity that you have created that helped you survive. And you think that if I'm not this person anymore, if I'm not the strong one, then who am I? Who am I gonna be? That means I'm gonna be weaker. Am I going to be able to survive if I don't have this identity anymore? And finally, your softness can be a threat to your identity, because sometimes softness can feel like you're erasing yourself. If all of your value was tied to hustling, then resting and being still and any softness, it feels like you are erasing yourself, you're disappearing, because you no longer have any value, because you are no longer being productive, you're no longer putting any effort. So you confuse being still with being nothing, because if you see yourself as a person that only offers value when you're doing something, then you conclude that if I'm not adding value, then right now I'm not valuable. And so doing nothing can threaten your whole self-concept, and it can feel like you're erasing yourself. It's like you feel like you're not existing, you're not living, because you're not giving and you're not hustling, you're not doing. Another dimension that could help us understand why softness can feel so threatening and why we have so much resistance to it is by the dimension of psychological conditioning. And this is an area that can really influence us and block us from getting into our soft era. So a lot of us, we were conditioned to think that rest is earned and not allowed. So if you wanted to go sleep, maybe you were raised by parents that were like, okay, finish your homework and then go to bed. You have to do this before you can go play with your friends. You have to do this chore for you to go out and do something that you enjoy. And so for you, you had this conditioning of thinking that, well, if I want to get something good, I have to first earn it. And so now your nervous system resists because it believes that you have to suffer first in order to earn it. Another way that we were psychologically conditioned against softness was through the idea and the notion that softness was seen as weakness. So we were, of course, raised in a society where it says you cry like a girl, undermining any soft trait and characteristic, seeing it as weak, seeing it as lesser than. So now we ended up living in a very masculine society where hustling, forcing, controlling, pushing, trying harder, taking actions, thinking, using just your logic and your reasoning is therefore glorified, is therefore the holy grail. And anything softer than that is considered not as important, not as worthwhile. So if you are raised with everyone around you equating strength with hardness, with hustling, with doing, with harshness, then gentleness, of course, is going to feel like the exact opposite of that. It's going to feel like you are not doing and you're not being the way that you're supposed to be. You are going to think that then I'm not strong enough, I am therefore weaker. And finally, the way that our psychological conditioning can block us from entering our soft era and allowing softness and allowing a nervous system to get regulated and be in softness is the fear of rejection if you change your pace. If all of your relationships were built on overgiving and overachieving and always doing and putting effort, then telling yourself to slow down would be like, well, if I stop giving, if I stop overextending myself, then I will stop receiving love because people only love me because I'm giving so much, I'm doing so much. But you undermine and you undervalue yourself by thinking of that, because you think you're only valuable and only lovable because you have something to give and you have something to offer. And if you don't have anything to offer anymore, that means that you're no longer valuable. And so you completely disregard your value as a person, your energy, your importance as a presence. And you think that all that you can offer to someone is your effort, is your actions, is to try to fix things for them. But maybe some people will want that out from you. But is that who you really want to be around? Wouldn't you rather be people that are there and want to be in your life because of who you are, not just of what you do for them? Because they value you as a person, they value your energy, your presence, and not what you have to offer them. Another dimension that also blocks softness is emotional avoidance. Any quiet and any silence and stillness can expose the feelings that you have been trying to outrun. When you're busy, when you're hustling, when you're rushing, when you're doing, all of these this busyness numbs you because your mind is elsewhere, your mind is occupied, right? But stillness gives you enough space for you to deal and face your emotions. You have nothing to do, nothing to preoccupy you. Therefore, your feelings arise and they come up and they're like, okay, is it time for me then to be finally felt and not be pushed down and ignored? So feelings like grief, shame, and loneliness, and whatever that could be, they could like rise up and demand to be heard. But you are afraid, your nervous system panics to the idea because you feel that these feelings are too big for you and that they're going to hurt you. And of course, emotions hurt, but they only hurt for some seconds. After that, they're like a wave. They come up and they come down. Once you give emotions the time of day, once you give your attention to them and you completely feel them and you completely see them, then emotions, they feel this acceptance, they get felt. That is the point of emotions, to be felt and not ignored and pushed down, and so they are released. But if you continue to suppress them and push down, those emotions have nowhere to go, and so they will stay on your body, so they will become part of your body, and therefore they were gonna start influencing your internal chemistry. They're gonna start creating diseases for you to notice them. So save yourself all of the hassle and stop being emotionally avoidant to the things that you need to see and feel and notice. Do it now, even if it feels threatening and it feels big. Do it for your health. Do it for your vitality, because these emotions are sucking your vitality, are sucking your energy. And another way that emotional avoidance blocks your softness is because you link slowing down with collapse. The only time that you allowed yourself to rest was when you were completely and utterly burned out. So for you to allow yourself to rest again, it means that you have to reach that state again. So your system pairs softness with crashing out and falling apart, and not empowerment. Your system remembers the times where it finally slowed down and had stillness with the times when you were completely burned out and everything were completely falling apart, and therefore something inside of you doesn't want to get there yet, and so it's blocking this stillness. But if you do it earlier, it doesn't have to come to that. A very key dimension that influences and blocks our softness and creates so much resistance in our nervous system and our nervous system regulation is feminine energy wounds. And we unfortunately live, as I said before, in a predominantly masculine society, which has as a result created a lot of feminine wounds. So many of us, because we live in this masculine society, we are forced and we are made to think that if we want to achieve anything, we need to get with the pace of the masculine energy. And so once you go into that hamster wheel, it's very hard of you to come out of it. So if you have been living in your masculine energy for so long, this can really make it hard for you, and it can really make you resist any softness, because you have learned how to live and how to survive in the masculine world with masculine energy. So if our culture rewards logic, it rewards reasoning, it rewards hustle, there is this whole culture around masculine energy where they reward logic, reasoning, doing, hustling, and never reward intuition, flow, alignment, creativity, and inspiration. And therefore, this has made your feminine energy feel like is exiled, feels like there's no space for it to thrive and there's no space for it to be heard. Another wound that blocks your softness is that your feminine energy doesn't feel safe in your body. You can't embody any softness and any stillness if your inner feminine still associates visibility with harm or dismissal. So your feminine energy doesn't feel safe to be seen and to come out because it is afraid it's going to be dismissed, it's afraid it's going to be looked down upon, and therefore it doesn't feel safe to exist in your body. And finally, one of the biggest feminine energy wounds is the fact that so many people confuse softness with submission. They think that, oh, this is a soft person. Instantly they think, oh, I can manipulate that person. That means they are weak. That means that I can play and I can step on that softness and use them to my advantage. They think that that person is therefore submissive just because they're soft. And because so many people think that the way, they do not want to put themselves in the position where they are the submissive one. They want to feel powerful, and because in their mind they associate softness with powerlessness, they try to stay away from it because they think that that will take their power away. But softness in its true form is its own form of power. It has its own advantages and benefits that can make you so powerful and so ahead of so many people that you will feel like I'm crazy for not using that, for not switching that feminine energy on, whether you're a man or a woman. Another dimension that has blocked significantly softness and that completely dysregulated our nervous system is cultural and generational patterns. So this block could be manifested by you inheriting a survival tempo. That means that maybe your parents' urgency, your parents' sense of urgency has become now your blueprint because they had to survive in that urgency, and because you were raised with that, you think that is what is the normal. This is how I'm supposed to continue living and acting. So you have internalized a belief that speed equals safety. And another way that cultural and generational patterns can block our softness is through glorifying hardness in women. And trust me, I have looked up to that ever since I was young, looking up to women acting like men. And because I was raised through a time where roles have started to completely be reversed and women went from one side to the complete opposite, I was raised with the idea that this is now how things must be done in order for me to get what I want, in order for me to live the way that I want in this society. But any of the two extremes are never going to allow you to harness the power that you could have if you used both of them. If you were right in the middle, if you were able to balance both of your energies, both your feminine and your masculine. This boss babe culture has given us the impression that soft is repressive, that soft is submissive. So if you start to think in that way, you start to see that being soft is a betrayal to yourself, is a betrayal to your gender, because the only way for you to thrive as a woman is to become a boss babe. And because I went through that to that extreme, and I have experience of being the completely independent, relying on myself, trying to force and push and do things and put effort, I know that that state never truly gave me the things that I wanted. All it did was to teach me that anything in life that is not in balance is going to be manifested, is going to be shown. So we can't anymore see these gifts as our detriment. We have to start seeing them that maybe these things are making me more powerful and actually than I think, and it's not making me weaker, but my gifts are somewhere else. And it's not that I am telling you to completely abandon any masculine energy, because I understand that we're living in a masculine society. I just want to make you question and think that, is this masculine forcing energy the only way? Maybe there is a way where you can bring both of these energies and try to test them and see how far this balance can bring you. And finally, one of the biggest blocks to your softness comes through our spiritual and energetic blocks. So you might have difficulty trusting the unknown without you having complete control and able to foresee the whole situation, how things will happen, how things will end. The thing about softness is that it demands from us to surrender. It demands from us to let go and not to try to be hovering over stuff, because you can't control miracles. You can't micromanage miracles. You have to allow them to happen. And for you to allow them, you have to completely surrender and completely let go and realize that even if you try to control things, your control, your power is too small, is too insignificant compared to the power that is required for you to get what you want. To get what you want might require the infinite power of a miracle. So what can your power of control and forcing, what can that be compared to a miracle? It's so insignificant. But the part of you that is so addicted and used to certainty and control is completely terrified by surrender, and therefore completely terrified by softness. And finally, one of the biggest reasons why we have so much resistance to softness is because you have blocked yourself from receiving, because your body is always in the state of reaching, in the state of trying, of pushing or forcing and not allowing. Softness is literally the art of allowing, the art of detachment, the art of surrender. But if your nervous system is used to and is wired to think that you have to grip for you to survive, you have to push, you have to reach, then allowing feels completely unnatural. Allowing feels like, well, if I can't do anything for it and I just have to sit there still and wait for it to happen, that means that, well, this is wrong, this can't be right. So stillness and softness and allowing feels like a risk, because you're like, well, if I tried, at least in your head you feel like you have control and you can have a chance to get what you want. But if you just sit there and allow things, you feel like you have zero chances of you getting what you want. But it's actually so counterintuitive, because when you completely allow things to unfold, it's when you are able to receive from God things that were far greater from your expectations, because your expectations to what you wanted to get compared to what God had in plan for you was too small. And it's good for you to remember that sometimes God has a bigger plan for you. But that can happen if you don't allow it, if you don't make space for it, if you don't put yourself in a state of receiving. So these are the reasons behind our resistance towards softness. And these are so deeply rooted and wired in us, that have such a chokehold on us, that it's very hard for us to break free, and therefore very hard for us to allow softness and allow ourselves to enter our soft era and stay there. And as long as these notions and these ideas are still deeply rooted inside of us and they're not healed, we are going to our body is going to keep feeling and sensing and understanding that what is normal is this idea that softness is not safe, that stillness is not going to protect me. And so every chance of softness, you're gonna push it away. So the only way to start allowing softness is not pretending to be soft, but to start rewiring and healing these wrong perspectives and ideas and misconceptions about softness, understanding the power of softness and how capable it is to make you stronger and more powerful, to make you more secure, to make you protected. Because until you see softness as a power, you will continue seeing it as a weakness. And when you see something as a weakness, even if it's unconsciously, you will block it. Your body is smart, it will not allow you to put itself into danger. Now let's talk about how to to enter your soft era through nervous system regulation. Firstly, you need to regulate before you rest. You can't just simply decide to be soft. It's not a mental decision that you make and things therefore now, okay, things are changed. You understand now that your body won't soften if it's still in defense, if it still feels like it has things to protect you from. And what most people call rest is actually freeze. What do we mean freeze? Freeze is a state where you are scrolling, you are numbing, you are escaping your reality, you are collapsing on your couch and completely shut down. But this is not rest, this is not softness. This is just a response of your nervous system to protect itself, but it's not actual deep safety, is not actual deep rest. Internally, you will continue have your energy drained by this unhealed state. So before softness, for you to achieve softness and to get into real softness, there must be regulation. Your nervous system has to get out of this freeze or fawn response, has to get out of survival, it has to get out of fight or flight. So that means we have to start with nervous system cues that stabilize instead of sedate you. One of the ways to do that is through breath work. Doing breath work is where your breath extends longer in your exhale rather than in your inhale. So when you exhale for longer than you inhale, you give your nervous system more time to let go, to release, and to therefore start feeling like, oh, I am safe. So one of the biggest indicators that your nervous system is dysregulated is short breath, is shallow breaths. Because if you're having shallow breaths, that means that like internally, like you are like not feeling safe enough for you to breathe deeply and breathe deeply in and deeply out. Another way to do this is through gentle movements. Any stored emotions can be released through movement. So that's why movement here can help you so much to release any of this stuck energy inside of you, because it moves around your energy and therefore moves around those stagnant emotions. So shaking helps a lot, yoga, Pilates. If you're a man, I feel like stretching more often and like doing exercises that allow your muscles to relax and you to get connected to them and bring more like fun movement releases all of that stored energy. And one of the tips that I heard about this is also having like this weighted pressure on your chest or on your hips for you to feel this sense of safety. And that's why hugs, when we have like someone hug us and fall on us, we feel so safe and we feel so like protected, because they put this pressure on our chest, and therefore our body understands this as a signal of grounded safety, and that can help your nervous system to slowly start regulating and sensing safety. And so once your system feels safe, softness becomes more accessible. Step number 2 is that you need to replace performance with presence. You have to understand that you don't need to do soft. You don't need to perform softness. You don't have to act like softness. All you need to do for you to become softness is to become present, is to be present. And that is because softness lives in the presence, lives in the present moment. And presence is built in small, repeated moments where you slow down enough to feel, to see, to expand your vision and your senses beyond you. And in that moment of presence, you're able to feel your body, to feel the ground beneath you, to feel and sense these subtle signals of your intuition that you can't hear when your body's rushing and is moving and hustling and doing. So you're able to feel completely yourself being in the present moment. A close analogy for you to understand, most of us, we are able to reach that present moment when we're watching a sunset. We're able to notice it, to see its colors. And when we do that, it's like we take ourselves out of our minds and we bring ourselves and our body in the present moment. We see the sky, we smell the air, we hear the sounds around us, we feel our body, we have more feeling and energy of what's going on around us. And in that moment, you are grounded in the present moment. So whatever you're doing today, try to do one thing at 50% the speed that you normally do. Speak slower, walk slower, cook slower, and watch how your energy softens because your pace softens. Step number 3 is for you to start with softness in your language. Your body completely listens everything that you say to yourself, about yourself, and about others. And because your body and your mind doesn't understand when you speak about yourself or about others, when you're saying something bad about others, your mind interprets it as I am like that. Whether you're doing that or whether you are speaking about yourself harshly, this harsh inner dialogue can really influence how soft or how harsh you become. Because if you're harsh with yourself, this manifests and creates more harshness in your life than when you are more soft with yourself. Therefore, you're more soft as a person. Most women's inner dialogue is so sharp, is full of critique, is full of pressure, is full of judgment, is full of urgency. Of course, and we wonder then why your nervous system is so dysregulated. You make your nervous system feel so unsafe with you. You make it feel so weak. You make it feel so judged and looked down upon, and therefore your system doesn't feel like it is enough. It feels like there's something wrong with it. So every time you correct yourself harshly, or when you rush your next step, or when you shame your softness, your body tightens, your nervous system gets dysregulated because it feels this insecurity. So instead of doing this, I want you to be able to exchange the way that you're speaking to yourself with something softer, with you letting go more and surrendering more and introducing more softness in your language. So instead of you saying that I need to figure this out, say to yourself, you know what, I'm just going to allow these things to unfold, and I'm going to completely take myself out of it, and I'm going to be able to completely be certain and know what to do once I get more information, once things start to unfold further. Instead of saying that I should be doing more, you should be saying to yourself, what would feel supportive right now? What will feel soothing right now for myself? Instead of saying that I am falling behind, you could say that I am moving at the pace of peace, I am moving at the pace of alignment, and I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. So your softness begins in the tone that you use to narrate your life. If you explain things to yourself through a harsh language, then the narration of your life is going to be harsh. It's going to be judgmental. It's going to be critical. But if you do it through a softer language, a language of understanding, of love, of compassion, of empathy, then the narration of your life, your narration of your story is going to be softer because you're giving yourself more grace. Your inner representation of things has more grace. Therefore, your outer reflection is going to create a representation externally that is also softer. Step number 4 is to create micro moments of surrender. You don't need to change completely everything in order for you to enter your soft era. You don't need to start doing all of these new things for you to reach this new state of softness. You just need to teach and show your nervous system again and again that nothing bad happens when you let go. Teaching your nervous system to feel safe and to feel and to expect good things to happen from surrendering, from letting go. Because once you teach your nervous system, not just once, but again and again, your nervous system has previous experiences, previous history to rely on and to see and trust that when I let go, things go fine, things go smoothly. You could do this by whatever you feel like you have so much resistance of letting go and surrendering. These things are going to teach you to surrender and let go and see that things don't have such a huge impact. They don't have so much importance as you think they have. These tiny acts of non-doing teach your body that it is safe to pause, to release, to receive, and to relax. Not all of surrender has to be this grand big thing. Some of this happens in the smallest and tiniest choices during your day, and that's how you build up the momentum of it. Step number 5 is to anchor your feminine energy in your body and not in your image. I want you to understand that your soft era is not an outfit, it's not something that you wear, it's not the way that you're perceived. It's not beige clothes, it's not rose cards, or it's not gua sha, dry brushing, and lo-fi playlists. It's the felt experience of safety, of fluidity, of alignment, of slowness and flow in your body. Your system doesn't intellectually understand these concepts. What it understands is sensations, its feelings. So if your body feels safe, feels fluid, feels soft, then that is what allows you to feel in your feminine energy. So you could practice being in your feminine by practicing non-linear embodiment. A way you could do that is when women, dance without any choreography, dance without any structure, and they just follow the flow of their body. That's why when we see women do that, we find it so sensual and so feminine, because they allow this fluidity to be expressed through their body, and they're not concerned at that moment about their image. They are concerned with how their body feels, and that is what in returns makes them so magnetic, so attractive, and so radiant, because they're in their feminine energy by being in their body. You could do that also by taking slow showers without any rush, without any mental preoccupations in your mind, just complete awareness of you, like taking care of your body and being present with yourself and the sensations of the shower. Another way that I love doing it is by laying on the floor or laying on the bed and just doing nothing but breathing and just staring at the ceiling and just taking a moment of complete stillness and nothingness. Feminine energy is felt and not performed, and that's why it's futile for you to be preoccupied with your image when you're trying to tap into your feminine energy, because all you need to do is to tap into your body. It's something that you are going to feel and not something that you have to act upon and perform. And when your nervous system wants to experience that softness, doesn't mean that something bad is going to happen, doesn't mean that you are making yourself vulnerable, you're making yourself weak and powerless. You are just allowing your body to feel safe with the energy that as women really help us thrive and help us flower. And finally, step number 6, you have to rewire your definition of strength. Until your nervous system believes that softness is a strength, it will reject it. It will discard it, it will push it away. So you need to start celebrating your softness as a power move. All of these moments of softness, of stillness, you need to celebrate them and be proud of yourself for being able to take them, to be able to step into that energy. Every time you say no gently, every time you choose rest over overworking, every time you stop mid-panic and you breathe instead of reacting, you are choosing a stronger nervous system than a louder one. Reacting in the same way that you used to is going to give you the same results, the same dysregulated, loud nervous system that is always ringing the alarm bell that things are not okay here. But when you act differently, you're teaching your nervous system that it is unnecessary for it to be loud. It is unnecessary for it to ring the alarm, and to understand that that is safe and therefore that is powerful. You have to find your own way to embody this. So write it, speak it, practice it until your body truly believes it. Because now you understand that softness isn't losing control. It's returning to your center. And when you return to your center is where you have all the power, where you have the ability to use all of your faculties that were given to you in order to create a life that is not just surviving, but is thriving. So that's it for today, guys. I hope this video served as your reminder that softness isn't something you earn by doing everything right. It's not a phase that you unlock when life finally calms down, but it is a state of being, and your body already knows that you have spent so many years overriding it and disregarding it in order to survive. But now you are teaching your body that you are no longer surviving, but you're just remembering who you truly were before all of this urgency, before all of the armor, before you believing that hardness made you worthy, that hardness made you strong, and hardness made you powerful. Your soft era doesn't ask you to give up your strength. It asks you to root it in something deeper, to root it in safety, in trust, and in presence. Because once your nervous system learns that nothing bad happens when you soften, everything good finally has the space to reach you, because you are no longer reaching and forcing, but you are allowing, you are magnetizing it to you. So you do not have to push to become the soft version of you. You just have to stop running from her and let her come home. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video helped you, and if you have any questions, as always, you can leave it in the comments. If you're still here, I appreciate you, I love you, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.